Alright, this is the video report on the film by Rosling about schools. It focused on several different schools. The first was in Afghanistan. It was very interesting to see about the different types of schools across the world and how different children with different cultures interact differently with work and school and play. In Afghanistan, it was very interesting because the girl who was there really loved school, loved doing the schoolwork. And it's very interesting because it's not the typical type of work or type of response you see today in the U.S. Most children don't like going to school, they don't like schoolwork, but this girl took it as a great opportunity, which it is, to learn and to develop. It was very interesting, though, that the Taliban in Afghanistan really didn't want women gaining an education. I thought that was interesting because, as one of the people in the video commented on their religion, that it says that everyone should get an education, including women, but the fact that the Taliban didn't want that happening was very interesting. Also, the fact that they had large families there in Afghanistan made it very difficult for this girl to learn and do her schoolwork the way she would want, because she had to spend time doing other chores and helping with the children, other children and family members. In one of the countries, it was very interesting that the boys didn't do any of the housework. They just got to play all day, so it was left to the women and the girls to do the cooking, the cleaning, all the chores around the house, and that left very little time for her to do her schoolwork. It then switched to Brazil, which was very close to Afghanistan in the sense that it was very dangerous for these children because of the drug cartels who had invaded or who ran the country. And the mother was very concerned for her children because she left before they were off to school and came back very late to try and support them and keep them in school. She said that she was concerned because there's a high dropout rate, and that because of the drug cartels, if her child dropped out, then he would probably go to joining the drug cartels, which would eventually lead to either jail or him dying. And she showed concern for her daughter also because there was a high likelihood that she could become a prostitute in that country, which is it puts into retrospect why, or the great benefit that we as Americans have, where most of the times we don't have to worry about those kind of things going on as much, that the education is just free and we get to go and do it up through high school. In India, they had a very different reaction. Most of the other countries said that it was good to keep kids in school, have kids in school, and their parents supported them. But in India, the mother and the father of this girl really didn't care as much about her getting an education, because to them it was all who she would marry. He would have a good education and support her, but she needed to learn how to cook, to clean, to herd the cattle, and a lot of her school time was taken up doing these household chores, helping with the family, and being sent away at one point for a couple months to try and find better grazing pastures for their livestock. And it was very hard for her because she was attending night school, and as she went out and did this, she missed a lot of the stuff she needed to know to transition into a day school. And because of that, she decided to drop out of school and not continue with her education. But her mother had a very interesting way of looking at it, because to her mother she said, you know, what is an education good for? Because her husband had an education, and most of his time was spent outside sitting down talking with people, so he didn't use a lot of his education, so the mother didn't think that it was needed for her daughter to get an education, which was completely the opposite of the reaction in Japan, where the demands for school are very high. They're so high, in fact, that they said that they've actually taken away as many the need as much for that high demand, so that the children didn't have to work as hard, because they thought that it was hurting the children. But Japan is Japan has some of the best education programs, and for them school's a given. It's not, oh, maybe I'll go to school. It's, I will go to school and gain an education. And he had very high hopes and dreams, the boy from Japan did. And it's very interesting to see how for those people in Japan, high school and just school in general was a given. You're going to go, you're going to do it, where in a lot of these other countries it's, I hope I can do it, and get an education. And it was interesting to see, because a lot of the children talked with each other and asked questions, and I asked them certain things about, like, housework for the children in Afghanistan and India. Housework was something they had to do, where in Japan this boy had a lot more time to devote to his studies. He didn't have to necessarily do a lot with housework and chores. So this video was very very insightful into different people's cultures and how they interact, and how gaining an education for them is much different than for people in more developed countries such as Japan or the US. But it was very informative, and I really enjoyed watching this video.